ጀምሯል ሪከርድ ማድረግ ጀምሯል። እሺ መጀመር እንችላለን። Hello, I'm Stan Mengistu here from Walta TV. Thank you for accepting our requests to give your thoughts, sharing your thoughts regarding TPLF attack on the National Defense Force. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm very glad to be here, and thank you for the invitation.
Okay. To begin with, how do you see the TPLF attack on the National Defense Force, and how do you see the government's action to assure a rule of law?
I must start with, and I must confess that it was with sheer disbelief and with shock that many of us who live abroad received on the news that TPLF has gone so far and has started attack on the northern command of the National Defense Forces. It was, of course, some of us were worried that this will come, but we never thought that TPLF will still resort to use of violence and use of force as a way to solve political disagreements. And we were very much shocked to learn that they did, and the way the attack took place, that's such a cold-blooded attack, an inhumane way and a brutal way of attacking national defense forces that has protected the country, that has protected the people, that has served the people, was unheard of, and it was unacceptable and unimaginable crime. And we were shocked, and that is the way we received the news. It is such an enraging news, and we are angry, we are speechless, we are very dismayed over what has happened. On the other hand, however, we are very glad that the government responded, has taken its duties seriously this time, has started responding, has managed to reorganize the defense forces with the support of the regional militia, and we're very glad that our national defense is showing what it is good at, that it defends the nation, it restores law and order, it brings stability to the country, and it liberates the region from criminal forces like TPLF. And we're very happy for the swift action that the government has taken, and this is such a just cause, and it is a self-defense that also holds to accountability forces of impunity. And we in any way we are very supportive, and we are very glad for the response.
Okay, thank you. In Norway, what kind of support or what kind of understanding does the Norway peoples have, the community in there, regarding the Ethiopian government's ongoing law enforcement action to protect the civilians and to assure a rule of law?
I must confess that it is very sad that that the news about what is happening in Ethiopia comes to the Western media, to the Norwegian public, and to the international community from sources that does not take the matter seriously and take the professional skill to present the case. The news have been misinformed. There is a lot of unverified claims, individual meanings that has been put into news, and we are very shocked to learn that such respected media houses like BBC, Al Jazeera, Agence France Presse, the Reuters, the Bloomberg, name it, the Economist, Financial Times, New York Times, we are disappointed that almost all of them has gone wild in speculating, in spreading misinformation, unverified claims of individuals, the so-called experts of Ethiopia, who has been very adamant to misinterpret and to give wrong coverage of what is happening. One of the things that has been very poignant, this is the way the whole operation, they try to present it as if there is a civil war coming out. And we are very, very glad that the office of the Prime Minister made efforts to come up with statements that could warn the international community, that could disclose when there has been fake news and wrong information, and that warn the international community to be cautious. Yes, there has been news, and much of it is a very wrong information. And the Ethiopian communities abroad, especially in Norway, we have been very much troubled by the wrong information, and it has been really a war of information too. It has been a war for truth. In my opinion, what is happening now is a war on three fronts. On one, it is what is happening in the Tigray region, where the defense forces are fighting. The other one is where the Ethiopian leaders are facing mounting diplomatic pressure on the diplomatic front. The third is on the public front, where there has been massive anti-Ethiopian negative information coming from the so-called Ethiopia experts and foreign correspondents and journalists who care nothing to report what is happening rightly and ethically. This has been really, really sad reality of Western media especially, and the same is true in Norway as well. We, as the Ethiopian community in Norway, we have tried to correct the wrong information. We are still working on to correct the public together with the Ethiopian diplomatic representation in the region. We are working on this.
Okay, good. As it was reported that TPLF junta has mercilessly massacred more than 600 innocent civilians. How do you see this? How do you explain this unethical and criminal and immoral action?
It was horrifying, and we still are waking up to the horror by the day. What happened in my cadre is very illustrative of what TPLF is good at. It is good at committing crimes against humanity. It is good at committing ethnic cleansing. It is good at instigating violence based on ethnic identity. What is so sad about what has happened in my cadre is not only that this tragic horror has taken place, but also the diplomatic community, the international community has failed to condemn it. I am very sad, and I must say this is really the saddest moment in my life, that organizations like the Human Rights Watch is nowhere to be found to condemn this crime against humanity. They have the luxury of claiming that we don't know the sources, we don't know who perpetuated it, even though the eyewitnesses from the region, the Ethiopian human rights reports, repeatedly confirmed that these were youth related to TPLF that committed these crimes, but still the organizations are faltering to condemn it. No matter who attacked, no matter who undertook it, they should have first and foremost come out with a strong statement condemning crime against humanity and genocide and ethnic cleansing, all of it in one. This is unacceptable. This is horrifying. This is horrendous. And we are very sad that the international community is failing and is taking so much time to condemn it.
Okay. Now TPLF has devastated infrastructures like the Aksum airport. What does this mean for the Tigray region and as a whole to the country Ethiopia?
It is very sad, and it is in some ways it is also very revealing that this is what TPLF is good at again. It commits crimes against the civilians. It instigates violence. It spreads hate. And the last resort it has is that it destroys infrastructure. It is a war crime to even in the setting of war, you don't destroy civilian infrastructure like the airports, like bridges. That is the place where humanitarian aid should reach to the people. TPLF is good at destroying. TPLF is good at leaving behind itself wounds and scars that will we will fail and we will live through. I'm very On behalf of the people of Tigray, I must say I'm very sorry and I'm very sad to learn that our historic city of Aksum, the heart of Ethiopian civilization, the heart of the people of Tigray, is attacked in this way. This is a crime against the people, crime against the country. I do believe that people of Ethiopia, after the war, after the operation, will be able to reconstruct it. But this was a revealing aspect of TPLF, that it cares to nothing and it cares to no one as long as it doesn't get the power, it will destroy everything. And this is nothing other than a culture of impunity and a culture of terror. And that is revealing about TPLF. And I must say, those people who are claiming that there should be de-escalation of conflict, those people who are claiming for peaceful way out of this, why are they not seeing what is happening? Why on earth and how on earth could they call for peace with elements like this who will destroy public infrastructure? Why don't have they forgotten that would Western Europe, would America go in dialogue with terrorists that will send rockets and send bombs and blow up their cities? Would someone go in dialogue with those who attacked the New York City, the Twin Towers, London, or Brussels, or Paris, or Madrid? It is unacceptable to even think of calling TPLF to a peaceful discussion of politics. That is gone long. Now it is about apprehending them and bringing to justice and liberating the people of Tigray from this enemy.
Mm, Good. During the war times, as we know, females and children are sensitive for migration. Suddenly now, young men are fleeing to Sudan. What consequences do you see from here?
I work as an advisor on the field of migration. So for me, war conflict is nothing of a joy to any human being of normal sense. When war and conflict takes place, of course, it evicts people. The consequence of it being, the first consequence being, people will be forced to flee for life. And that happens. And all kinds of people, from children to elderly to youth, everyone flees. A very interesting aspect in this is that the international media is now bragging about and as beating drum that these thousands of people have fled from the conflict. Understandable. This is not a football match. This is a military operation. A weapon is involved, so people had to flee. And I do understand many people fear for life, and therefore they have fled, and now they are in Sudan. But given that what has happened in my cadre, I do hope that international aid agencies, humanitarian agencies, besides distributing and providing humanitarian aid, they will also, together with the government of Sudan and together with the government of Ethiopia, they will do the right thing to do, namely to check the persons who have been involved in instigating and in conducting this genocide in my cadre. some of these youth who have been part of the crime has fled to Sudan, and I do hope that the international community will wake up to find out those people and bring them to justice. But by the way, everybody or anyone who knows the Refugee Convention understands that there is no refuge for war criminals. War criminals, wherever they go, whichever country they go, they will not be included in refugee status. They will be hunted and they will be brought to justice. The same is going to this day. Those who perpetuated the Rwandan genocide, they are being hunted to this day. And it may take a year, it may take 2, it may take 10 years, but they will be hunted and they will be brought to justice. That must be clear. And I'm very happy that the government of Ethiopia has moved quickly to provide humanitarian assistance and provide shelter, and this is very much needed. We must be very thankful for the international community that is providing aid in Sudan. We must also be very thankful to the people of Sudan for their usual hospitality in accommodating our people who have fled for life. And we should understand those people who fled for life, they need time to rehabilitate. Some of them, they might fear for life and they need a lot of work, a lot of guarantee to come home. And when law and order is in place, I do hope that the Ethiopian government, together with international NGOs, will work to restore and bring them back to their homes. And there is no other way than bringing them back home. And Europe is tired of receiving refugees, and it will be unfortunate if they are to stay in the refugee camp in Sudan for 10 and 20 years. And I do hope that they will decide to come home when things are in place.
Good. Mr. Lomo, despite the current situation in Ethiopia, the construction of mega projects like GERD, the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, are underway. How Ethiopians in Norway are supporting this project?
It's a very nice question. It's very good that Ethiopia is launching. Ethiopia is on the path of undertaking several things. The political reform that is going on at home, the political dialogue that is happening in the inter-party discussion forum, the dealing with COVID, tackling COVID, both for its health emergency and for economy. These are very important things. The digitalization that is taking place in Ethiopia, which is very, very promising, and the efforts of the reform leadership, especially the leadership of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed in delivering the national projects like GERD is very important for Ethiopia. And GERD has been embroiled in a lot of again, false diplomatic pressure from Egypt and other forces. And in Norway, there is a group of Ethiopian scholars who have been very, very fiercely working on this area of promoting academic research and advocacy, spreading right information about the technical aspects of GERD, about the rights of Ethiopia to develop, and the role of GERD as development project for the region and not as a threat, and also the fair share and the right way of proceeding in mutual beneficiary ways for GERD and other projects. In Norway, there is also on the community level, people are very much enthusiastic about GERD, and we are rallying, gathering funds, buying bonds. And so in many ways, there is a very enthusiastic support for GERD. And also, there were even plans to start new support for newer projects like Gorgora, Ginchi, and Koisha projects of the new flagship project, which is launched under the name of Gabatala Hager. So in Norway there is, and in the larger region there is really a very strong sense of unity and sense of purpose to support Ethiopia's strides to reform in political front and achievement in the field of or in the areas of development. So there is a strong support for this in among the Ethiopians in Norway.
That's great. Mr. Lama, thank you for spending your precious time with us. If you have any message that you'd like to convey, please entertain it.
Thank you. I must say, first of all, I thank you for this opportunity to speak with you, and to your viewers. I do hope that the international community, members of the NGOs, members of the UN and African agencies, and members of the diplomatic community in Ethiopia, with all their support for the people of Ethiopia, they will do their part in helping spread correct information about what is going on in Ethiopia. It is under responsibility and on their shoulders to tell the world that what Ethiopia is doing is not an attack on the people of Tigray. It is not destruction of the nation. It is not a civil war. Nothing close to this. It is a regular law enforcement operation. It is regular kind of police work, but it involves military because the other part is has stolen national arsenal and therefore in possession of a weapon that threatens regional security. So I do hope that the diplomatic community will do their job in helping their countries back home, the media back home, in informing what is going on in Ethiopia and help spread correct information about Ethiopia. And that comes as a plea and also as a reminder of their role as ambassadorial and diplomatic community as NGOs as well. To you, however, as a media, I must say that it is very nice that Ethiopian media is very much focused on the Ethiopian domestic audience. But please, please, please don't believe that BBC will tell truths about Ethiopia or CNN or Al Jazeera or others. Please do make efforts to help the international community understand what is going on in Ethiopia. Send some journalists to the front lines. Send some people to the places, including the Sudan, where the refugees are. Bring fresh reports, bring pictures, interviews, translate things in different languages so that the international community will get to have accurate information about what is going on in Ethiopia. Much of our history has been misinformation, disinformation, and in so doing, a sort of betrayal. So I do hope that media will play its role in avoiding and in debunking some of this myth which the so-called experts of Ethiopia are exploiting. I am very critical of the so-called experts of Ethiopia who are spreading false information about Ethiopia, and they should be exposed for their self-interest and in instigating conflict and benefiting from conflict, and they should be rejected. And I do hope that will be done better by media's role in helping spread correct information about Ethiopia, and I wish you all the best in that effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lama, would you mind introducing yourself to our viewers?
Yes, my name is Lema Desta, and I'm an Ethiopian by origin, and I live and work in Norway. I have educational background both in theology and also in educational philosophy or policy studies. I've been working as an advisor for migration for churches in Norway and also to the wider region of the European Union. I participate in the Ethiopian communities here in Norway and in the larger European and as well as in the global setting, as being part of the Global Council of Ethiopian Diaspora for Action. And I've been also previously been part of the solidarity movement for New Ethiopia. So I am passionate about Ethiopia should proceed, and I'm very passionate about the reform shall succeed and Ethiopia shall see better day. That is what makes me motivated to engage. Thank you.
Thank you. በጣም የማመሰግነው ሚስተር ለማ።
ምንም ችግር የለውም። እንግዲህ መልካም ጊዜ። ያው ሪፖርቱ ኤር ከተደረገም በኋላ ወይ ያገኘሽው አፕዴት ካለም ፊድባክም ካለ ንገሪኝ።
እሺ፣ በጣም ጥሩ ሀሳቦችን ያነሳለን። እናመሰግናለን። በኮንታክት ባረክ ኤዲተር ኢን ቺፍ አለቃዬ በኩል መች እንደሚተላለፍ አሳውቃለሁ።
መልካም፣ አመሰግናለሁ።
Thank you.